Hi, welcome to this week's weekly market scan at Mind Money Method. So, to start off with, the big news announcement is, and obviously that we've been speaking about it for a while now, and it's been under scrutiny, is what's been happening with Greece and the Greek crisis. Well, an agreement has been made, and so pretty much so good news, I would say, for the markets, because when there is indecision like that has been happening in the markets, especially around Greece, then the markets are in indecision. So I think now, with that having said, that there's been at least an agreement between Greece and the rest of Europe, that Greece will now stay in Europe, at least for the short term, but it's really a long-term decision that they have said that they've made it for. There's obviously still meetings and further talks within Greece itself that needs to happen to prove to the rest of Europe that that's what they're going to do, that what was the agreement that was reached, that they will now follow those steps and start building trust back in the rest of Europe. But an agreement has been made, so that is really important news for the markets. And I'd say that takes a little bit of the risk out the markets, but the dust still needs to settle. Having said that, so if we start looking at our weekly market scans, as we always do with the dollar index, we'll start off with the daily chart over here. Let me just enlarge this for you. You can see what we've been having over here is pretty much so. Technically, we're in an uptrend. So price has been going up, higher high, higher low, higher high, and a higher low, and we're now in what we call the sell zone in between our moving averages. We had a nice little small candle, pretty bullish candle right now, and that is, I'm looking to see if that's going to break the high of really 2 days ago. So really from the July the 10th. So if that starts breaking up, that it's going to confirm the bullishness of this market. But if we look at this technically, it's not the nicest uptrend, but it is technically still an uptrend. So the dollar itself, the dollar index, is in an uptrend. And if we go to the weekly over here, we've got a little bullish candle. It's definitely bullish. And once again, looking to see if we can break this level over here, about the 9,700 mark. If we start breaking that, it's going to confirm definitely strong bullish move upwards, and it can go. In terms of there's no real resistance in the way besides this over here. Definitely up to the 9,800 mark. So a good 100 points potential over there. But overall, dollar index is looking bullish. If we then go and look at, perhaps let's just go look at the euro to the US dollar. Obviously, with what's been happening out in Europe, we're expecting to see potentially the euro starting to now take some movement in one way or the other. But as it looks, the market has rallied up. It's come back down today, but really. Yeah, I mean, as far as if I'm looking at this chart going more onto the weekly, there's obviously, this is showing over here that there's been a lot of indecision in the market. There hasn't been really, one way upwards or downwards. And us as traders within Mind Money Method, we look for continuous trends. We look for nice clear charts that our indicators and our price action is going in a clear direction. And we don't really want to take off sideways moving charts or any indecision charts that looks like there's indecision in the market. So as it stands, you can see there's been indecision. So and that's really relative to what's been going on in the Greek crisis and what's been going on. So if we move on to let's look at this chart over here, the Aussie British pound. Obviously, two currencies not affected by the euro, and really is looking really good to the downside. I mean, the Australian dollar, Aussie dollar has definitely been weakening against some other currencies, but definitely against the British pound. I would be looking for, if I was obviously at the higher time frames, but I would probably drill down into my lower time frames, probably going down to maybe a 4-hour chart, maybe a 6 or 8 hour, and looking for opportunities to trade from there. But having said that, definitely the daily, weekly, and the monthly are all in strong agreement to the downside. So is the indicators showing me especially here, we go to the weekly, we can see we've got our indicators and we've got our price action. Strong downtrend over here. Yes, a little bit away from the moving averages, but because it's on a weekly chart, I'm not particularly overly concerned about that. However, it's a nice clear chart. We can see what's going. So based on highest probability, the market potentially is going to carry on going on a downward trend. So that's looking like a good market, the Aussie British pound. If we just jump around and we go to the Kiwi dollar, I did mention in my talk weekly scan video last week about that we've been in a trade for about 9 or 10 days. Well, we did get stopped out. And we have got a video of that of one of our other head traders, Raymond Blair, who will be releasing that video very soon on really from beginning to end and how we've money managed and risk managed that entire trade. So watch out for that one. That's going to be a very interesting trade, I would think, and a very interesting video to watch, especially for the newbies and for the professionals out there. Obviously, you can compare to your strategy and seeing what you're doing and how you managing your risk and money management. So we look at this, still in a downtrend, definitely on the monthly, the weekly, and the daily, but it has had a pullback on the daily into the moving averages, into the sell zone, which, as far as I'm concerned, is good. And now we've got a bit of an indecisive candle over here, so it's something to watch what's going on. Although it is bearish, as price did try and go up, and now we've come back down, so we're more on the bearish side, and potentially still looking that the Kiwi dollar is still potentially, and not potentially, still looking definitely looking like it can continue on its downtrend. If we go and look at the US dollar to the Canadian dollar, really represents the dollar index, that the dollar index strength. You can see that the US dollar is pretty much so strong against the Canadian dollar. Does it look like it could continue on the uptrend? Well, yes. Prices pull back close to the moving averages, the buy zone. And if we go and look at this monthly chart, it's definitely looking like a bullish chart. But I would be looking to see that it breaks on past this mark over here, to see that it can have its move and continue and going upwards. Same really on the weekly chart. Potentially we got to take this into consideration of a level-ish of resistance around here. So I'll be keeping a strong eye on that, potentially for price to break through this level and pull back into that level and then continue on from there. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye out, as what we call added to our stalking list. And then if I can just take you to one last, really we've talked about mainly spot currencies, the dollar index. Why don't we go and have a look at a commodity here? And let's go and have a look at the Brent crude. And looking at the Brent crude, we've had a very strong sell-off over the last few weeks. You can see a strong downtrend. Prices pull back nicely into the sell zone. Moving averages and indicators and price and everything is really in agreement. If we go and look at the weekly chart, we've come down here, but we've definitely been downtrending. So potential for price to continue falling down to this area over here, close to the round number. I always look at the big round numbers. So potentially to fall down to close to the 5,000 mark. So Brent crude looking also down on the bearish side. And that's it really for a weekly roundup. What's my plan of action for this week? Well, I'm definitely going to be stalking the markets as some of these currencies, spot currencies I've just spoken to you about. And keeping a strong eye on really in and around, not for big movements, but more around for price to pull back into buy zones, sell zones, big numbers, and potentially, taking small to medium trades. I'm not really going for swing trading, really for a couple of 3, 4, 5 days, more to do with intraday trades for a day or so, just until the market settles a little bit, especially on the euro side with the Greek crisis, and to see how the trust of the Greeks is built up over the next few days and how the markets react. So really stalking the markets, looking for big round numbers and pullbacks into the big round numbers, support and resistance levels. And that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this weekly market scan. For those of you who don't know and haven't seen, go to our homepage where we've actually giving away a free trading course. And you can actually sign up if you go to our homepage at www.mindmoneymethod.com. Go to the homepage and you'll see their free trading course. And that's really to get you going and to answer. There's a lot of information out there in the markets today, and we're in the information age, and so much information is thrown out there. And we've collated a lot of this information and chosen what we feel is pertinent for someone to at least get started in trading. So really, this is targeted for the newbies, for people who are interested in trading but really don't know where to start because of all the information out there. So why not go and have a look for our free trading course? It's out there, it's ready, you can just download it, you just put your name in and your email and you'll get full access. It's done over 14 days, 14 modules. And yeah, if there's any questions around that, you know that you can get hold of us at info@mindmoneymethod.com, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Happy trading, everyone, and I hope you have an awesome week ahead. Cheers.